The average business loses $174,000 annually due to inefficient purchase order management. When the company came to me asking if there was a way to fix SAP B1's rigid approval system for their frustrated clients, I built this AI automation that is able to cut these costs by 95%. In this video, I'll be showing you the exact AI system which is able to automate purchase orders from submission all the way to supply delivery. It includes multi-level dynamic approval, automatic invoice matching, and also real-time notifications. We'll also cover the AI classification agent, which decides which purchase orders actually need approval and which ones can be automatically sent out to the supplier. The supplier communication automation, which will basically send out all the purchase orders for you to your suppliers, the ones which are in your database. And then we'll also look at the invoice matching system, which is able to pick up any discrepancies between your purchase order and the invoice before it costs you any money. So if you're new here and never seen my face before, I'm Nemisi, and I've spent 1,000+ hours building out these AI workflows for multiple businesses across industries. On this channel, I try to show you the exact AI automations which really move the needle for businesses and are not just cool demos or automations which will never be used, but mission critical AI implementations. So all that being said, let's get straight into the video, and I will be showing you the exact AI system which is able to automate purchase orders. This is the AI automation which is fully able to handle purchase order management from submission all the way up until supply delivery. So it runs on N8N, also with an Airtable front end, and I'll kind of show you that Airtable now. We've got a full interface here with purchase orders, order lines, purchase order timeline, order Kanban, and basically so you've got full overview of what's going on behind the scenes. And the system is quite in depth here. We've got a whole lot of back-end information like invoices, employees here, so we can understand who needs to be sending to and who needs approval here. And this has got the suppliers which you're in contact with. And this is basically to give all the AI information that it needs to carry out this automation. So let's get into it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to submit an example purchase order. So you can see this is the purchase order which we'll be submitting as a fake employee here, and we'll see how it handles that. So here it's quite a simple purchase order right now. We've got 2 items, premium roast coffee beans and large paper cups. You can see that we've got the totals here, quantity, and basically everything that you'd expect in a purchase order. So if we head to this workflow, I'm going to submit that form here. It can basically be like a webhook from any ERP system. So for example, if you create a purchase order in SAP B1, it can be sent to this workflow to do this automation. So I'm just going to select the purchase order right there, and I'm going to put in my employee ID. So I'm going to submit this workflow, and it will be starting. So you can see here that it's going ahead and doing its job. So if you come over to purchase orders, you can see that it's been created and it's already added it to the database, and that exact purchase order which we submitted is now in our Airtable, and also creates an order trail so we can follow along exactly what's happening in the system with timestamps and everything. So you can see purchase order created by E001, and if you come to employees here, you'll see that John Doe is E001, and his manager is Opai-Tetteh, and here I am. Opai-Tetteh has all my information there, and it's got an approval chat ID. We'll get into that shortly. But right now, it's fully populating everything here, and you can see that it's already gone ahead and decided that it needs approval, and it's sent out an approval message to me, Opai-Tetteh, and I'll go through that now. But let me quickly show you exactly what's happening here. So you've got date created, the purchase order number, what it's gotten that from the exact purchase order. You can see here's the PO number, and if we head back into the Airtable, it's also saying awaiting approval. Requester is E001 and connected that automatically, so we can pull that up. You can see it goes to E001 right there. We also got the supplier. The supplier was Global Coffee Beans Ltd. You can see here that it saw that the supplier, where are they? Global Coffee Beans Ltd. It already matched it and everything, so you can see exactly which suppliers are delivering it. Got the total amount which is there. If we can compare that again, 4065.2, 4065.2, literally everything there, and it decided approvals needed. I'll kind of go through that and why it decided that. Extracted the comments. Please ensure brown cups delivered between 3 and 4 p.m. and call before. Order lines, and if you go to order lines, you can basically see everything was extracted and linked to that original purchase order. So you've got these ones here, and you can see that they're pending right now because it's awaiting approval. And we've also got the attachments there, and basically that's about everything that was put into the Airtable. So now let's look at why I decided me, Nemisi Opai-Tetteh, should be the one to approve this. It's because we've got AI interpretation and classification. So pass over the full purchase order to the AI, and you can basically add custom logic here, so you don't have to have like a million if statements in your logic to see who needs approval. AI can basically understand the purchase order, and you can give it instructions. Say if a purchase order comes in over 1,000 rand and it's September, and John Doe is on leave and everything like that, please send any approvals straight to Mary Jane, for example. Here, so that's the level which AI is making things work at, and we kind of attach a couple of tools to it so it can understand this. So example, we can add the Airtable base that's linked to the employees, so it can understand who it needs to send the approvals to. And it decided that it needs to send it to me because I put into this that if it's an order over 1,000 rand, and I'm E001 at John Smith, I think it was, I must be sent, Opai-Tetteh must be sent the approval message. So we can see that it'll send to me on Telegram, and now this whole system is halted and it's waiting for me to view that Telegram message. So let's go to Telegram and see exactly what was sent to me. So you can see here it says you've got a new purchase order to review. PO numbers right there, created by John Doe, as you see, because it was all with the employee ID and everything like that. So we can even view the purchase order before we give an approval, or if we reject it outright. So we can come here and just copy that link. I've copied it because it doesn't want to open for some reason. But we can view the purchase order right here, and you can see we've got large paper cups there. Coffee beans is the exact same one that was submitted by the employee. So now that we've seen the purchase order, we can decide, hey, I think this is all good, we can go ahead and approve it. So we can click this respond button and it'll open up in a new. So if we open it up here, we can just say approve. Approval notes, we can just say looks good. And we can submit that off. And we can close that page and go back to N8N. So now that that's done, we can go back to the Airtable and see that everything's been reflected here. So you can see the status has changed to send to supplier because it automatically sends it to the supplier because it knows Global Beans details. I think it's Global Beans. Global Beans Ltd. It knows it's Alice Johnson, and the email address is this one. I was going to send it to my Gmail just for this demo. But yeah, it sends it out automatically. And if we go to the order trail and approval notes, you can see it was updated with what I said. And then also in the order trail, you can see that it was approved by me at that time, and then it sent it out to the supplier at literally the same time. And we've got also the message ID here, so if you ever want to reference whenever an email was sent, you can get the exact message ID for that. And if you go to the order lines, you can see that it was approved by me. So we can head over to my Gmail and we can check what the supplier will be receiving on their end. So you can see here, here's the purchase order. I'm just zoomed in so you don't see the rest of my emails. But yeah, you can see it's got the supplier tag. That's how it's able to understand that, and this is how we're going to match it to the purchase order that's already in our database. But you can see hi Alice, that's because remember in the Airtable, the responding person for Global Coffee Beans Ltd was Alice Johnson, so that's how we reference him there. Please find attached a new purchase order, best Opai-Tetteh. That's automatically filled out because I'm the one who approved it, but it can basically be dynamic. So you've got the exact approval here, and this is the one that the employee submitted in the beginning. So the purchase order and literally everything there automatically sent out. So now that purchase order has been sent out, we can now pretend that we're Global Coffee Beans and we're sending back an invoice for the specific purchase order. So you've got all the information here and everything's the same, but just this description here. So you can see here, here's the email. I'm just going to send it off to my email address, and the system's automatically going to pick that up. So I'm just going to click send right here. So now that the invoice has been sent out, we can head over back to N8N and see how it processes the invoices and how it matches it to the ones which are in our database, or the purchase orders in our database. So you've got this Gmail trigger right now that polls every minute. So whenever you've got a new email, it'll pick it up, but it'll only be picking up the emails from suppliers because we've got a label for them specifically. As you saw in the beginning, when I sent out that purchase order, it had the label suppliers there. So any email that comes in and gets sent out will have suppliers, and those are the only emails that the system reads. So then we get AI to classify the email to make sure that it's actually an invoice and not just some correspondence between you and the supplier. So we can just trigger this now and see how it handles that. So we get the email classification going. You can see that it's correct, and so now it's going to go through the workflow and compare the two purchase orders and the invoice. So we can come over to our Airtable and we can see that there's a whole new invoice which has been submitted. You can see here that it has been put into the Airtable and it's from Global Coffee Beans Ltd, just like we did with the actual purchase order. So we're just going to wait for the system to populate this record in Airtable. So now we're just parsing the invoice and getting out all the information from it. And we're just checking if there's a corresponding purchase order for that invoice in the Airtable already. If there is, we link it and we compare it. But if not, we can just upload the invoice and say that it was not found, or a matching purchase order was not found for that specific invoice. So now we get an AI agent to compare the actual invoice to the purchase order and flag any mismatches. So you can see that it's done that, and we can head over to Airtable and see what the verdict was. So you can see in Airtable it raised the mismatch / exception like we expected, and we can get the reason for the mismatch / exception in this field right here. You can see that it says the invoice contains a mismatch in the item description for item PC987. Like I mentioned to you in the beginning, the invoice said, I think it was website design, and the actual purchase order said large paper cups, and I was able to pick that up. So you can see here, while the invoice lists item as website design with the same quantity and quality, but a completely different description. This discrepancy indicates the invoice does not fully match the purchase order. So it's been flagged before you even pay anything. So that's the first part of the system done. You've seen how we're able to upload a purchase order as an employee and how it's been sent to a Telegram message. It can be a WhatsApp, it can be Microsoft Teams, it can be email to get approval from the manager of the employee. And you can see how the system is able to match purchase orders and invoices to flag basically any mismatches / exceptions in them. It was able to pick up a small discrepancy just in the description alone before you pay. So the next part of the system, which I want to show you, which is quite game-changing in my opinion, is how you can get AI to edit any errors which you've picked up in the purchase order all automatically for you. So let's get into that part of the build. Okay, so what I've done now is I've just resubmitted that same purchase order with the single line items and the same comments or special instructions, but instead of approving it now, I'm just going to reject it and give it a rejection reason, which is basically the edits which I want AI to make with this system. So we can just grab this link here, because I said it keeps popping up on my other monitor. So you can open that up. So you can basically just reject it. So the rejection reason here is the edits which I want AI to make to the purchase order for me. So if we come to this purchase order, let's say instead of 200 cups, I want 100 of them. And I also want to add coffee filters to the order. So let's see how the AI will handle that. So we can all write this in natural language. Say, please make the paper cups a quantity of 100 instead of 200. And then we can also add coffee filters. Also add coffee filters to the order. And now we can basically get it to search the catalog of items which are in the database, but I haven't added that functionality. But you can definitely imagine if it's able to search employees and see who to send it. You can quite easily search your product database and get the SKU codes and the unit price of them, but I'm just going to provide it to it here so it can not make up anything. So we can say SKU equals CF1983, price equal to, let's say, unit price here. Unit price equals, let's say, €2.99, and let's say we want a quantity of 100, and we're going to send that out, and we're going to see what the system does. So we can close this page, and we can see that it's going ahead and it's editing everything. So that rejection reason can be a straight out, like we don't have enough money for this, or we don't know the supplier, and the system will basically be able to classify that and see if it needs to regenerate the response, or it can just straight cancel it. So if we said something like that, it would just straight cancel it. But because we said we add a few things to the system, it was able to go ahead and regenerate the purchase order for us. So right now it's reflecting all those changes that we mentioned in the Airtable with this AI agent, which is down here, which has access to a whole host of tools to go ahead and think through this problem and get that job done and make sure that all the changes which we added in the message is reflected in the Airtable. And we can see that the Airtable is done here, and we've got a whole new approval message that we can go ahead and look at together. Increasing. So you can see here, the edits have been made to the system. The price decreased. Before it was like 4,000 Rand, but now it's 2,720. We've got rejection reason, which is uploaded here. Please make the paper cups a quantity of 100. Literally the exact same thing that we said. We've got the audit trail. You can see that we rejected it and we said this. Please make the paper cups a quantity of 100 instead of 200. Also add coffee filters to the order. The same reason. And then we also say new purchase order generated. This was by AI. The following changes were made by AI. Change the quantity of large cups and everything like that. So we've got a whole new purchase order here that was created with AI in like a couple of seconds. And we can see that there's a new line item here and the quantity has been changed. So we've got copy filters with the same SKU code or the new SKU code, description, quantity of 100 and a price of £2.99. That's coming out to £2.99. And then also same with large paper cups, it's now 100 and there's a new price to reflect that. So that's actually quite cool in my opinion. And we can go over to the Telegram and you can see that a whole new message was sent to us. So we've received a new approval message and it's basically that new purchase order which has been regenerated. This one I showed you right here in the Airtable, this new one. But it'll go through the same approval workflow where if you approve it, it'll automatically send it to the supplier, which is mentioned here. And if you reject it, you can give a straight out reason and it'll stop the whole process, or it'll regenerate it if you requested something to be regenerated. So as you've seen, a whole new purchase order was able to be created with AI and it got reapproved by the same person who requested the changes. And it's also reflected in the Airtable. So if you go to the order lines table, you'll see that there's new coffee filters there with a quantity of 100, SKU code there, and a unit price, and it's saying pending, and also this was edited. So if we approve it, it'll go through the same workflow which was shown in the first end-to-end demo. So I'm not going to go through the approval process again. You can go through this as many times as you want to make as many edits as you want, and it'll keep editing the purchase order for you, removing items here, adding items to the line items, and it's reflecting basically all the changes that you're requesting. And the purchase order that's actually sent to the supplier is the most updated one. So basically that's the full system and the power of automation here. I think at its best, I think that system where you can edit your purchase orders on the fly in 2 seconds and get them reapproved is something that's really game changing for businesses right here. So you've now seen how we're able to automate the full process of purchase order management with human intervention where necessary. You've seen how we're able to edit purchase orders, how we're able to get the right people to approve the purchase orders, and also get these purchase orders sent out to suppliers automatically. I just want to now highlight some aspects of this system and automation which make it quite powerful. The first aspect here is this AI interpretation and classification agent, and this agent is the brains behind the full system. This AI agent houses all the logic which will help it understand which invoices need approval, which ones can be sent out automatically, if an invoice needs multiple levels of approval. All that logic is kept in this AI agent and it understands this all naturally. Because if you're trying to do something which needs very complicated approval workflows in something like SAP B1 or another ERP system, it'll be very complicated. This AI agent throws away all that complication with a simple natural language prompt. And you can get really granular in the prompt, but I've kept it quite simple. You can see here that determine if approval is needed based on the following criteria. If the purchase order's total amount is greater than 1,000, or if any item category is equipment, or if the purchase order is from a new supplier not found in the supplier table, then approval is required. So you can see here you can get really granular on the system and you can make it fully dynamic. So to get all the information out of the invoices and purchase orders, we're using Llama Parse here, and Llama Parse is a great LVM, basically able to extract all the information in structured markdown content for these AI systems to understand. So you can see here it's in markdown. If I go to table view, you can see that we've got the exact table. So it's got like the table for the LM to understand, and we utilize all that information later down in the workflows to upload everything into the Airtable to get things edited and all of that. So the next one part I want to highlight here is this human in the loop system, which is native to N8N. So for example, you can see that we use Telegram here to get that approval from the human, and this is all dynamically filled. So if I go over to the Airtable and I go to the employees table, you can see here that there's an approval chat ID. So for example, if we came to James Anderson, if the AI flagged that James Anderson is the one to approve it, it will send him a message with his chat ID. You can see here that chat ID belongs in this Telegram node right here, and we'll send it to the specific person which is required. The system is not bound by Telegram. You can basically be connected to any of these platforms right here, which I mentioned. So the next part of the system which I want to briefly highlight is these two agents which work in unison. So this one is a text classifier. Like I said, if you have a straight cancel reason, like you don't have enough money for this, or it's a new supplier that you don't trust, you can straight cancel this without any further regeneration of it. So then if it decides that it needs to be regenerated, we get this AI agent to apply the changes which are made or requested by you in the approval request. So then we go ahead and take all that information which the AI agent gave us, and we use an HTML template to produce the purchase order. And now the next part of the system which I really want to highlight is this Airtable master agent. This Airtable master agent actually took me quite a while to get down, but basically it makes sure that everything that was requested to change is reflected in the Airtable base. And it's got a whole bunch of tools here. As you can see, we're updating order line records, deleting records, updating purchase order records, basically all the CRUD operations which are needed to reflect the changes which you request. If you want to see exactly how a system like this can work for your business, you can hit the first link in the description down below and book your free 30-minute AI audit. If you've enjoyed the video, please hit the like button and the subscribe, maybe the bell icon too. And I drop videos like this every single week showcasing AI automations which are making the real difference in businesses. So that's it from me. I'll check you in the next one.